Join our incredible moms who have mastered the art of balancing motherhood in today's episode of We Time Convo.
My name is Debbie.
This is Liza.
Moms sharing inspiring stories, practical tips, and a few hilarious anecdotes. And it all begins now.
That sounds like a movie. I really believe that God or the higher power,
The universe?
yes,
Yeah.
gives you what you can handle.
Yeah.
So I think the higher power gave me what I could handle.
Yeah.
So you
That's
probably
very
can
true.
handle a lot more than me then.
I can't, but that's what alcohol is for.
I discovered alcohol too.
Yes. That's what alcohol is for. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know how parents that don't drink do
How
it.
they do it.
How they deal with it. Like, mad props to you because I need
I need a
After-
drink
yeah,
too.
I need a drink.
I need a drink. Sometimes I'll need a smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you
I'll
smoke.
drink. I'm a social smoker. I don't really smoke.
Yeah.
But when I get a good drink in my hand and I'm
Yeah.
feeling good and I'm like, you know what? I just need a little bit
Yeah.
more.
I smoked for 10 years.
Really?
Marlboro Menthol Lights. That was my thing. And
Do you
I
smoke still? Or
No,
not
but
at all?
like you said, the urge to do it like while drinking, like that was really, really hard. I actually, obviously when I got pregnant the 3 times, like in between, I stopped smoking and then, I kind of picked it up. It's just, I do miss it sometimes. I kind of sometimes even put my fingers up to my mouth, and I haven't smoked in a long, like at least 5-6 years.
Wow.
But it was just kind of, I think it was more of a habit thing.
Then I
Than the
actually
actual-
like it. I like it's not even because it's not a habit for me.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
But when I do have it, it feels good.
Yeah. For me, I think the smell, like having to get rid of the smell, like brush your teeth was the hard
Part.
Yeah, was the hard part.
Well, it's interesting because my dad is a smoker.
Oh.
Always been a
Like
smoker.
all his life?
Yeah, I even
Wow.
remember when
And
we
is
were
he healthy?
younger. Yes.
Oh.
Well, I wouldn't say healthy,
Yeah.
but I mean, he can't stop. He's tried.
Yeah.
And I actually even remember when we were younger, back in the day, when you used to smoke in the house. And my dad used to smoke in the house. Now, obviously, he's changed and he doesn't smoke in the house anymore. So he'll smoke outside. But growing up with a smoker, it's interesting because there's moments where I like the smell.
Because you're so used, like you grew up with the smell.
Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if it's attributed because it just reminds me of my dad or what it is, the initial smell. And that's not all the time. It's just moments. I don't know why, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I know people who just cannot stand like that smoke smell.
Yeah.
I don't have that aversion. But why'd you stop?
I got pregnant 3 times within, I don't know. And I was just like, forget it. Like,
It's expensive.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
super expensive.
It's like, I think back then it used to be $3 a pack. Like, I'm telling my age. I did before anyways, but now I think it's like $10,
Yes.
right? Yeah, it's like $10
a pack.
It's
Yes.
really
so
expensive.
if you are
It's an expensive habit.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And they're making it harder and harder to get. I don't know. My dad, for some reason, can't get the actual cigarettes that he likes. So the one thing that he wanted me to do coming back from Asia was to get him some cigarettes. So
So you smuggled them?
So FYI, I didn't have to smuggle, although I was tempted to.
Yeah.
Because each person, and I had to look this up, is allowed 200 cigarettes to bring in to the U.S. So you're allowed to bring it.
And
just
any
depending on
kind?
what- Yes. So
Okay.
200. Cigars, I think, is a little different.
Yeah.
But you obviously could bring in more.
Yeah.
But, obviously they'll take it away if they do decide to search you when you come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I found out. 200 cigarettes per person.
Well,
Okay, so
Talking
we're
about-
the pregnancy too.
so we'll start with you, Debbie, because you only have one kid. Mine's gonna be a little longer.
Well, I just like everything else, I had missed my period and I was thinking like, am I pregnant or what? So I just took the over-the-counter pregnancy test turned out positive. I didn't want to believe it because I was in shock. And so
it wasn't planned.
In a way, we wanted it.
Okay.
Me and Vanessa's dad wanted to have a kid.
Yeah.
We weren't married, but we wanted to have a kid. I think for me, it was just a surprise, right? So the fact that we did the over the counter, and then from there, well, you don't know until you actually take a blood test.
Mm-hmm. That's 100%.
That's 100%. Yeah. So that's why I went to see my doctor, and we did the pregnancy test with the blood, and I was pregnant, and that's how I found out.
So I found out, I was 18. Obviously, was not just graduated high school, so not planned. The same thing. I missed my period. It's like, okay, well, I'll take a pregnancy test. It was positive. Okay, I'll take another one. It's positive. After like 10 pregnancy tests later, and I don't even know how much money I spent, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. And then I had to tell my parents.
Uh-huh.
So that was hard, but they actually took it very well. They were like, we'll support you, whatever. And then, I did the blood test. So that's how I found out I was pregnant with my oldest. Ava, who is, my middle child, same thing. I missed my period. I'll take a test. And then, back when I had Haley, they only had the pregnancy test. It's like, okay, 1 line, you're not pregnant. 2 lines, you're pregnant. Mm-hmm. Or if it's like faded, you're like, what is that? What does that mean? Like, is it a false, So at the point where when I was pregnant with Ava, they now have pregnancy tests that say not pregnant. So you're either pregnant or you're not pregnant.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, I don't have to, figure out what these lines mean or whatever. So that was that. And then, with Violet, I think it was, they have ones that say, like, they literally tell you
if you're pregnant
pregnant or you're not pregnant. And same thing that I used for Violet.
Now, in all cases, so it sounds like it's in all cases, do you go see your doctor just to confirm 100% with the blood test?
Yeah. And the good thing about having a geriatric pregnancy, which is a pregnancy when you're over the age 35, mm-hmm. is when you take this blood test to confirm your pregnancy, they can actually tell you if you're going to have a boy or a girl.
Right then and there, really?
Depending on how
far along you
are. But because you're in a geriatric age, they need to test you. You're a higher chance of having a child with Down syndrome or, other like health issues or whatever they scare you with because of your age.
Yep.
They can determine even before. I think now it's if you're 16 weeks. If you're just having a normal, like younger pregnancy, they'll tell you if you have an ultrasound and they can find out. But with the blood work that they do, because you are older and, then they can tell you exactly what you're having, which is 100% boy or girl. Yeah. But they do, if you're older, they do a lot more testing. They do check up on you more, mm-hmm. Because of your age. Because of your age. But I feel like they need to raise that age because I feel like 35 is fine. I don't think it's old. I think it's an okay age. I think there's a lot of women now that are having kids
at older
age. until their 40s, I mean, Janet Jackson that's Janet Jackson, but she had a kid at 50. She looks good, but she can have plastic surgery.
Interesting enough.
Yeah.
People have asked me, and I'm 48.
Yeah.
If Peter and I are looking to have children.
Yeah.
And my initial is I'm 48.
Yeah.
But obviously everything's still working. So I could, I guess,
I mean, if you feel good, and Peter's younger.
He is.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, really? Like 48? And I actually mentioned it to Peter, like, would you want, us to have kids? And he goes, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
He would be fine with it. I'm kind of leaning to, I kind of like that now our kids are out of diapers.
Yeah.
It's a lot more
manageable.
Yeah. Me and you, mm-hmm. right? The me and you.
Yeah.
Because I do have to say kids, while they're wonderful and, mm-hmm. there's no way to really describe like what they can bring to you in when we think about joy, they are so much work
and so much money.
Yes. And I think that obviously adds like quite a bit of layer between you and your partner.
Yeah.
To figure out.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you considered surrogacy?
No.
So you would want to carry like baby.
I think I had, my pregnancy wasn't the easiest. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, plays a part.
Right.
With me potentially having another child. But even with surrogacy, I mean, in a lot of ways, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the after that, when the baby's here, right. That's like the hard part. I would say it goes up and down. Like, there's the hard parts of having a kid, and then it becomes easy, and then it becomes hard. Like, it's never like,
it's not linear.
Yeah,
it's not linear.
It's not linear, and it's not like a peak and then you go down, and then it just gets super easy after an age, right? Yeah. I think it's like it just goes up and down throughout life.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, sorry for people who don't have kids or are planning to have kids, but that's, I think, our reality is realizing that there is no like, it's gonna get easier.
Yeah.
Well, it'll get easier, but then it also get harder, and there's like you'll have
good and bad days. And
yes.
Yeah, and that's funny because I'm single now. I'm 42, and when I wasn't single, I was like, hell no, I'm not having any more kids. I'm done. But I think about it now, and I'm like, what if I do like meet somebody that wants to have kids? Like, is that okay? So that is funny that you say that, because now I'm starting to think like maybe I would, like maybe the shop isn't closed yet, right?
I'll tell you, before, Peter, I would be like, if somebody asked me if to have would you have another kid? I'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But now with Peter, it's weird, because there is a part of me that would love for us to have something together. Mm-hmm. But I think I need to, and he needs to, like, let's find that together outside of just having a kid. Like, let's find other ways of building something together.
Well, girl, if you want to have a kid, I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Yes, I think you would be a lovely mom, and you would look good. And who cares if your doctor says you're geriatric? Like, who cares? Doesn't matter. Think about Janet Jackson.
I know. That's actually who I thought of. Yeah. Like, Janet Jackson. She had her first kid at 50.
Yeah. Like, you go, girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say, and 50 in our age, in our generation, doesn't look 50. Yeah. Like in our
Asians don't raisin. But and I actually know somebody that is single and she's getting pregnant on her own. So she went through sperm donor, and it's like, she's my age. So it's like, you do you. You don't need a partner, to have. If you want to be a mom, go be a mom. You don't need a partner. So I thought that was great. But yeah, so talking about pregnancy, how was your pregnancy with Vanessa?
It was
because you mentioned that it was hard.
It was harder. We took, obviously, when you get pregnant, they give you these tests. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the tests that I took, and it's been a while, but it turned up positive, but they say it could be a false positive.
Yeah.
So back then, they closely monitored me. I did like a couple of ultrasounds. Back then, you would only do maybe 1 or 2 ultrasounds, and that was it. I'd had multiple ultrasounds, plus my thyroid. I have a thyroid issue kicked in. So it wasn't the easiest pregnancy, but and it was scary. Did
you carry Vanessa to full term and have her naturally?
I did. Actually, I had a C-section. Okay. We had scheduled for her to come. And, from there, it just, my labor was like 32 hours.
Ooh, that's tough.
So, I went into the hospital on Friday at 2, and I had her at Sunday morning after 2.
Did you take the drugs?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I had, and everybody loves to give you their perspective.
Yeah.
I knew people who did absolutely natural, did not do any drugs at all.
Like Irene?
Three. Yeah. I
Oh my gosh. I bow down to you because
I bow down.
Yes.
I bow down because, and I thought I was a pretty like, like
your pain tolerance is
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I'm a pretty like rough and tough.
Yeah.
I can take some pain. I would ask like, what? And it would always ask the question, what does a contraction feel like? What does it feel like? And they're like, oh girl.
It's an out of body experience for sure. You can't explain it.
No. Like, and I'm like, well, how do I know it's going to come? Oh, you will know when it comes. Cause you don't, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody, like, how do you know? No. And my first contraction, and I remember, feeling it, and I was like, oh no. If that's light, I can't even imagine what like the strong ones would be.
Yeah.
And I remember one particular nurse, because they asked you the question, are you going to take any of the drugs, right? Like the epidural. And I'm like, if I can't, manage the pain, then sure. But I'm going to do my best to like manage this pain. And the nurse just said, if you think you're going to take it, like if you're open to taking it, just take it. Because her point was, why put yourself through all that pain, knowing that eventually you'll probably take it.
Yeah.
Now, if you are one of those people that says, I am not taking it, then good for you.
Yeah.
But if you're open to taking it, just take it from the get-go and save yourself.
You can rest it gives your mind to rest for after you have the baby.
Yeah.
And that's what my nurse told me too. She's like, why are you doing this? Like, girl, just take the drug so that you can rest, because you're not going to have any rest after the baby.
Yes. I had another girlfriend tell me, she's like, whatever drugs they offer you, just take it.
Yeah.
She like straight up just said, just whatever they offer, take it.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't not regret taking it. More power to people who
like
did
Irene.
not take anything.
Yeah. Like Irene.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I could not do it. Yeah. And I don't know, like it blows my mind, people who go through and take all that pain.
Drugs are a beautiful thing when it comes to childbirth.
So based on that, it sounds like you also.
Okay. So I'm a wuss. If you pinch me, I will cry. So I knew right away, like
that you were going to take it.
Right when I got to the hospital, I was like, give me the drugs. I didn't even have a contraction. They're like, no, you can't. Like, you have to wait, right? And so you feel the contractions, and oh my gosh, it was just, my toes were curling. I can't even explain. Somebody told me, oh, it's like menstrual cramps. No, it's not like menstrual cramps at all. It was an out of body experience. I thought I was gonna choke somebody. I was in so much pain, and I would hold on, and I'm like, okay, I must be like 8 centimeters. They're like, no, you're at 1. I'm like, hell no, like just give it to me. So I did have the epidural with all 3 of my girls, just because I'm like, nope, I can't take pain. I don't like it. Just give it to me. And it is a little scary because they tell you, they insert it into your back. Yep. The needle's huge. They say that you could have back issues or whatever, but when you're in pain, you do not care. Yep. Like, just give it to me. And my kids were fine. And I think a lot of moms don't want to do it because,
they're afraid.
They're afraid, and they also don't want it in their baby system, which is fine. That's, if you can,
manage it,
by all means, girl,
go for it.
Yeah. Go choke your husband, knock him out, whatever you need to do to, tolerate the pain.
Now, Irene, because you did mention that you did not with all 3 kids. Was there a reason why you chose not to?
My sister-in-law told me that you can get side effects. So some people complain of headaches afterwards. So I'm like, I did meditation tapes.
Got it.
It helped at the start, but I was there on my first one. I think it was already in maybe 5 or something. 5, there's like a centimeters, right, contraction. And I was looking at this girl. She had just arrived. I was like, oh my God, that girl is just so calm, right? And she's not feeling anything. And then the nurse is like, she's only at 1. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Of course, right? But then I think at 8 I couldn't take it anymore. Then I asked for the epidural. But at that
too
time
late.
it's too late. So
You have to
yeah.
go through with
Yeah.
it without it.
So I always ask for it when it's too late. I think I did it in the second and third child. And yeah, it's always too late. And I'm like, okay.
Then you
So,
just
it
the
wasn't that
choice
you were
is
against
no
it.
longer a choice.
Yes, yes. So the thing is, I think I'm okay with the pain. The problem with me is the pushing, that just like drains me.
Got
That's
it.
the thing, because maybe you're already tired of fighting the pain too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
yeah.
I didn't feel the pushing piece. I only stayed at, I want to say 8 centimeters for a while. I mean, and we were at 8 centimeters for quite a long time. And finally the doctor said, we're just going to have to do an emergency C-section. So that's how Vanessa came in. It was through a C-section. But how about you? Did you, Liza?
I pushed all 3 out.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm actually a pretty good pusher. I think with Violet, which is my youngest, I pushed 3 times and she came out.
wow. I think some people are just built to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
But just a good reminder: the epidural. It's not a. It's there's a time
Yes,
stamp on that.
yeah,
So meditation didn't help at 8.
yeah, there is.
At the beginning, of course, but no.
But with epidural, I think with each of my kid, I remember them kind of kicking it back a little bit before I was supposed to push, so that I can feel
Yeah.
the need to push. So, and like I remember with Haley, my first one, like I literally felt myself tearing, and like I think I even heard it. It was like it was the worst feeling ever, and like I can feel them just like when they pull the baby out, like you could just feel. I was weird. I was like, oh, I don't like that. It was weird, a weird feeling, but I didn't feel that with the other 2.
No.
And they were all around the same, like 6 pounds, so and so ounces. So yeah.
Wow. When I had my C-section, it was an emergency C-section. So basically, they give you general anesthesia, so you're typically awake.
Yeah.
They knocked me out.
Why?
So when we went in, they gave me the general anesthesia, and I guess it took a little longer for it. Like they gave it to me, and then the doctor started cutting, and I felt it.
Oh no.
So I screamed. I basically screamed because I could feel them cutting me open, and all I heard was the anesthesiologist, "I'm knocking her out," and it was like
You're out like a light.
I was out. And I didn't have a chance to, obviously, because I was in so much pain, and then they knocked me out. When I woke up, I actually didn't. It took me a couple of moments to figure out like what happened. Like, where was I? And the first thing that I thought of is like, okay, where's my baby?
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, another thing I want to talk about is advice. When you're pregnant, where did you get your information? Did you read?
Everybody.
Yeah.
I got it from everybody. Anybody who wanted to like give me their 2 cents.
And it's different. It's all different.
It's all
Yes.
different. Like my younger sister, she already had her first child, so she gave me hers. My mom, of course, various aunts, gave me friends, books.
What books do you remember what books you read? I think there's like What to Expect When You're Expecting. Yeah.
Yes. You have all this good intention. Like me, I have all this good intention to like read through it. And I think after a while, I'm just like, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is all too much for me. I can't. I think my tried and true was listening to my mom.
Yeah.
She had 3 kids. I'm close to her, and she's pretty level-headed.
Yeah.
It helped that she's a registered nurse, so I listened to her.
Yeah.
And then I think you should also like everybody has a little bit of truths,
Right.
but those truths may not fit you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I ended up doing.
That's very true. Yeah. So when I had my, so what to expect when you're expecting, when I had Haley, actually was like my Bible. You know, and maybe it's because I was out of high school. So I was like, you know, reading, you know, just absorbing like information and in the book, it kind of goes how you are supposed to be feeling, I believe, like week by week. So I was just reading up on everything and I loved it. And I think they also now have what to expect the toddler years. And I had that for her. And, you know, I had Haley in 2000 and I didn't have internet back then either. So my only source of information was reading through books or, you know, like my mom. So I loved it. And with, you know, by the time I had Ava and Violet, you know, we had the internet. So I would look up on the internet. And now we even have apps now that
help you through
that will help you through it. And it will tell you what size fruit your child is in your belly. You know, I'm 37 weeks. My child is a watermelon thing. So you can compare it to a coconut. I don't know. So like things like that. And the apps are awesome because it will say, hey, you know, a notification will pop up. Hey, you're 36 weeks today. This is how you're supposed to feel. And I think the one thing though, with this kind of information, especially with new moms though, is okay, you're supposed to feel that way. What if you don't have that? They tend to freak out. Like,
yeah. Because it's out of that norm.
Like I don't have nausea. Like, is there something wrong with me? Is there something, you know, wrong with my baby? Or so I, you know, and the internet can be a scary thing too, because for new moms, because if you're having pain, you look it up immediately, you're having a miscarriage kind of thing. So I think just talking to your doctor, you know,
helpful.
If you have a really, really good OBGYN that you can text her, call, you know, email anytime.
That was important for you.
Yeah. Anytime you have any issues, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's pros and cons to the internet and books, and because they tell you what you're supposed to feel. But like you said, not everybody is the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably like for me, what I needed to whittle out. Like I remember when Vanessa was born, we would write down like her schedule.
Yeah.
And my mom would be like, oh my God, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Just like feed her. Like she never believed in like waking her up every 2 hours. She was just like, let the baby sleep. And I'm like, no, this is what the doctor said. Right. And so I think, you know, there's a balancing between those two of kind of like how, you know, the previous generation, you know, went through an experience to. So I think there's eventually it does get old. You're tired of writing when she pooped and all that other stuff. So eventually you'll wean off it. But I do believe a schedule is so important.
Yeah.
It kept me sane.
Right.
So that was super helpful. But I do agree, like at a certain point, with my mom of not waking her up like every 2 hours. Eventually you wean off that too as well.
They wake up when they're hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think just paying attention to like you said, what's not the norm, and is that not the normal?
Yeah.
And like you said, going back to, you know, your doctor and seeing what they say.
Yeah. How about you, Irene? Are we asking you, Irene? Are you on this?
For me, I like with you, I didn't find the book What to Expect When You're Expecting very helpful. It was more confusing for me.
Yeah.
But now I really don't remember what I did for my first baby, because I didn't have my mom, but I had my mother-in-law. I guess like taking it a day each day at a time. That's what happened for me. And surprisingly, it's weird. I only have 2 years gap between kids, and I don't remember what happened in the first kid. Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm starting again, like learning these things. I thought I've done this even with the third kid. Like, you don't remember.
You just kind of forget.
Yeah. So, I think, just maybe I had Paul. Like we just learned together, like what to do, right? And but when each baby was born, my mom would come here and help me out.
I have to say that was very helpful. I don't
really
know if
nice.
you experienced that. I experienced that too. My mom was super helpful when I was so lucky. And I don't know if that's, you know, I find like maybe it's our us being Filipinos, like it's
culture.
just like it's our culture where if you're having a kid, your mom's gonna like help you with that at least for the next few weeks, months until you kind of settle into a routine.
Yeah, I think my mother-in-law came like for the first 2 weeks of our first child, and then my mom came after a few months.
Now people are doing au pairs.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah. Must be nice. Yeah. Must
Or
be nice.
night nurse.
Yes.
Oh, wet nurse.
Yeah, people are doing that now. I honestly, and I was a first time mom, so everything like, is she okay? Is like, so having my mom there who I trusted and who I knew, and we would get into some disagreements, but I think that's just normal.
Yeah.
I just think it's normal, but my mom was super helpful.
Yeah. With my older daughter, since I was a single mom, like I have such a huge like support group. So they knew that I was alone. Actually, when I had Haley, I had like 20 of my cousins in the waiting room. Just
my God.
like cheering me on, and like I had 2 of my best friends with me holding my hand, and they took turns coming to visit me at my house so that I could sleep, brought me food, and it really does take a village, and like I love my family. I was so like super fortunate to have them help me, and it was great. And then the other 2, I had David, and he was super helpful too, but I can't thank my family enough for helping me through as a single mom. And there's a lot of young single moms that don't have anybody.
Yep.
So I can't even imagine like them having to go through that with nobody. So I'm very, very lucky.
Yeah. No, it is not easy.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah, with a partner, I can't imagine without a partner, right? Or help. Yeah, it was even hard for us. It was me and Paul. It was hard.
Yeah.
Well, if it sounds like obviously when our kids have if they decide to have their own kids, it sounds like we're very aware that we're more than willing to help.
I'm like looking at Debbie like,
to a certain extent.
yes.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing too. I think as parents, we have to find it's always like a challenge.
Yeah.
How much do you help and how much do you just let them go?
Right. Yeah.
And it's not easy, and no book is ever going to tell us how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a constant like balancing act of helping and like letting go.
Right. Yeah.
So
I'm like a tough love mom. It's like,
are you
figure it out for yourself. But I mean, when the time comes, it could change, because like that's my grandbaby. Like I want to make sure my grandbaby's fine.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm more of like, figure it out. I'll babysit every once in a while, but I don't know, that could very well change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm coming from, I had to figure out myself when I was a single mom, kind of thing. So
yeah. Well, I think the reality is we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
When it comes, yeah. 'Cause, my mom tells me you have grandkids, it's so different. Like it's a different kind of love, and yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Well, I mean, it is, I think what I take away is if you want to know for sure, you got to go see the doctor.
Get the blood test. Get the blood test.
Yes.
You can skip the pregnancy test if you want and just
go straight to
go get it done.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer. The sooner you know, the sooner you can figure out what you want to do
and take care of yourself. And
yep.
Yeah, you can start taking your prenatals. You didn't take We were talking about prenatal vitamins, right?
Yes, I wasn't 100% good,
Yeah.
but I in general, I'm not really good at taking any type of medicine.
Yeah.
So, so I kind of always felt like a bad person because it's like, how could you not take your prenatals? But
Did you have to drink milk?
no, I don't remember doing that. I did stop, obviously, the normal stuff that you're not supposed to eat, like no sushi, no raw
Yeah.
food, no alcohol. I didn't do any alcohol. I didn't do any caffeine.
Yeah.
So those were the things
Yeah.
that I gave up during pregnancy.
I mean, and don't feel bad that you weren't consistent with your prenatals, because from what I read was that regardless, the baby's going to take what they need from you. You know, yeah, the
That's
baby's going to take what it's more for just replenishing for you, right?
Got it.
So don't feel bad. I mean, we all forget. I took prenatals. I mean, they do wonders for your hair and your nails. I actually took my prenatals after.
I've
as
heard
well.
some people
Yeah.
people also do that as well.
Yeah.
They keep it because of the benefit of prenatals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And they're nasty too, like huge. But yeah, don't feel bad. You know, I took them with my kids. I forgot sometimes, but yeah.
I heard some people, like, if you're taking multivitamins, you don't have to switch to prenatal. Some doctors just take whatever you're taking before you got pregnant. Just take multivitamins.
So it's interesting what you're saying. It's really not necessarily for the child, but really more to replenish you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why
That's a
you.
good note.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. I think for me, when I think of prenatal, I'm thinking like it's
Yeah.
for the baby.
No, the baby's gonna take what they're gonna take from you.
Good to know.
That's why you can lose your teeth.
Yeah, that's why you can lose your teeth, lose your hair, lose your mind.